Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review. And moving on to another I would say I would particularly say a family. I would say a family movie. But at the same time, well, it's hard. It's hard for a little bit of this one because it's based on a children's book, so it should aim towards more of a family movie though. But it's still like I would say it's a little bit. I would say it's a bit dark for a kids film, even though it is a book that's made from a book that is based on a children's book though, and I would probably say that I guess like over the years, like the time when this film came out, like gave kids nightmares. I would say because some of the dark elements is put into it, but now I was never scared because I didn't grow up with the movie though until the later years for me though. But after watching it, I saw over a few years ago though. But I can see why. But I would say I do like the movie, and I can see why all those things. But what I'm to our review is the 1990 film The Witches. And I would say it's very a very particular type of movie. Like I said, it's based on a children's book. It's from the same guy who who wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, The Big Friendly Giant, and Matilda. So many others, and Roald Dahl. I mispronounced his name again, but I do enjoy it though, and like I said, how some of the dark things from at the time when it came out would have been too scary for kids, probably because of probably Anjelica Huston's witch form, or some of the things it does to our two lead kids. Probably that's why, but or a little of the creepiness of the witches, I would say. But I can understand that part though. But I like the movie, and I was never scared by it. I would say it's really one big definitely say one big positive I would say is I enjoy the makeup and practical effects in the movie. I really do, especially when made by the Jim Henson Company. Would do a lot of practical and puppet works. Like the movie Labyrinth, starring the late David Bowie. And hey even with Jim Henson, the Ninja, I'm trying to say it right, the Ninja Turtles from the 90s. Great practical suits and stuff like that, and Jim Henson's done a whole bunch more. His company, I would say, even up from Little Shop of Horrors as well. Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah. And of course, the Muppets. Like forget about the Muppets. But that's one big factor I did enjoy was the makeup and animatronic puppets and stuff like that. And the film stars Anjelica Huston as the Grand High Witch, which I thought she did a really good job as well as the Grand High Witch. And for other cast members, you have Mai Zetterling, who was who plays the grandmother to the lead kid Luke. I thought she did good as well. you know, like a very good, sweet grandmother, which you can relate to. And the kid who played Luke, Jason Fisher, I don't think I don't think he was not annoying at all, because usually a lot in the film some of the children are just annoying. But I've said a few videos with children where some of the kids are not annoying, where they're really cute and sweet. Like in Signs, where I just reviewed Signs, and Abigail Breslin, who plays the younger daughter, she was not annoying. I liked her. I enjoyed her performance in Signs. I don't think she was not annoying. So I don't think the Jason Fisher, who plays Luke, I don't think he was not annoying either. And also the film the film got a lot of praise. As a 6.8 IMDb, and oddly enough, this film does have a rare 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Really enough, I was like, really, wow, a rare 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Although, yeah, so it was critically praised, but sadly though, it didn't do well box office wise. It only made like 10 million. And usually the films from the films are based on Roald Dahl's novels don't do that well either. I mean, this year, The Big Friendly Giant, that was a huge flop, especially Steven Spielberg's biggest flop in how long. But I'm saying that's another one though, but it didn't do that well, even though it got a whole lot of critical praise. And it's just, and I like the story, even though I have not read the book. It opens up with the grandmother named Helga. She's telling her grandson Luke about the story about witches, and about the witches, like they don't like children, and she even tells that when she was a girl, she knew another girl, and something happened to this girl, and she disappeared. And one thing that this is a nitpick though, but I don't think it didn't bother me though. But I'm just pointing it out because how the way she was telling the story about this girl that she knew, either because she says I don't know though, but I thought that might come into play later on, because maybe we'll see that person who's now an adult, like probably the same age as the grandmother. Maybe she'll make an appearance though, but I guess that's a part that's never been brought up again though. But I'm just saying though, because she tells about this girl, but that's never brought up again though. But I'm just pointing out though. But that's just a little nitpick though. But that doesn't bother me at the same time. And then Luke gets like 2 pet rats or mice. They're white. They're white. Either rats or mice though. But yeah, they're mouse. Yeah, mice. I mean. And then the grandmother, she gets a bit sick. She has like diabetes, as the doctor says. So they plan to take a trip to this it's in England. So they go to this hotel, this fancy hotel, and the owner of the hotel. I'm just smiling because the guy who plays Mr. Stringer is the guy's name. It's played by Rowan Atkinson. The guy who played himself, Mr. Bean, and Zazu from The Lion King. Yeah, he's in this as the hotel owner. He's not playing like a goofy. He's not playing a goofy character. you could say probably a serious role for him because he's talking with his real British accent, and he's not talking like Mr. Bean or any like goofy tone. He's paying more of a serious tone. And I was like, really, wow. I'm watching Rowan Atkinson not acting in a very funny, goofy way. It's because he's the owner of this hotel. And Rowan Atkinson was good. I enjoyed for his presence in the film as well. So it was nice to see that, especially not playing not being silly or anything. So because he is very particular like on the because when he sees Luke has these two pet mice, he wants them out though. But even though they said the grandma said that she saw a rat, and even Luke says there was even some of the food had like little bite marks from rats, which that wasn't true because he met this boy named Bruno who's been eating some of the stuff as well, but he said it was like a rat as well. And Mr. Stringer is not like, okay, as long as you keep in this room, that's fine. So, but they don't notice, but there's all these bunch of women are in this hotel, and they're all witches. And the Grand High Witch, played by Anjelica Huston, they all get into this what they say they're like an organization for child cruelty, but it's really a disguised organization. Because once all the witches are in there, they said is all the doors are bolted, everything, so that no one can see who they are. And really good. I mean, we get to really good makeup and really good practical makeup. Talking too fast again. Really good makeup effects. Because like all the witches, they're pulling off their wigs and they're all bald. They have like these stuff on their heads, like it's like warts or anything. Like you know how like witches have they have like warts and stuff. Like they pull off their wigs and they're bald. They have this stuff on their head, these little stuff on their heads, like I would say warts. And Anjelica Huston reveals she takes off her wig and pulls her face off, and this really good looking, really good makeup effects of this Grand High Witch look, what she really looks like ragged, old, wrinkled, raggedy, really this gross looking witch with this long nose. You know how a typical witch would have with a long nose and stuff like that. Really excellent makeup effects from Jim Henson's. Really gotta give props to that. I enjoyed the look of the makeup effect on the Grand High Witch. And probably this is what some of the things that would probably like scare kids, you know, because especially how the Grand High Witch looks, and probably seeing all these bald ladies. I can get that though part, but I was never scared though. Because like I said, I didn't grow up with the movie, so I never got to experience that though. But I can see why. But all I see is it's very well done makeup effects, really well done. And I was gonna say Bruno. Luke, he's hiding somewhere where he's seeing all this, all these witches, and hearing the Grand High Witch's plan, where your jobs are at, quit them. And she says, she has like a bunch of cash, and she's throwing it because she wants them to buy candy shops, and because it will lure children, because she wants to give her all the kids in England, and then she'll make all the candy like douse with this formula that she has, so when the children eat them, they'll turn to mice, and that's how they plan to get rid of them, man. But then Bruno gets brought into it, and before that, one witch gets says something back at her, like an opposed argument. And the Grand High Witch, she just zaps her, basically. Uses her magic and just zaps her just into ashes, basically. Because you're never supposed to talk back to the Grand High Witch, like, even if it's an opposed slightly opposing what her plan is. Nope. She goes and zaps that witch and turns her to ashes. So, and then Bruno gets brought in, and he gets turned into a mouse. And just when they're about to leave, Luke he gets found out, and he runs. He's running away from all the witches. They're all running after him. And one thing is he's outside, and Anjelica Huston just shows us she did a good job. She just wants because Luke is hiding somewhere, and there's this baby carriage with a baby in it, and the witch, the lead witch, she's just an basically a douchebag, basically, because she wants to get him out of where she is. She goes and to lure him out, she goes and pushes that carriage with the baby in it, and it was almost going off the cliff because they're at this the hotel's at Ocean Cliff location, and the kid saves the baby. He stops the carriage, but he is exposed, so he runs some more. He goes back to his hotel room, but the grandmother is asleep. I guess the witch casts a spell, because you see a lot of people are asleep, so that no one knows where the witches are out and stuff. So then he gets caught, and he gets turned into a mouse. And now to me, this is where how the adventure starts off, because it's him and Bruno are turned to mice. I mean, because a mouse is one rodent, mice is more. And how the both mice look, really well done animatronics, puppets, I would say. Because now, if they, of course that's the 90s, so nowadays it would be CGI, horrible CG. I would still take these animatronic. I will still even take animatronic mice over CG today. I would still say that, though. I'll take any practical animatronic or even puppets more than CG of today. Still. So the two animatronic mice, really well done. I thought the mice were cute. And so they have to go and get to Luke's grandma. And you see them try and make it back to the hotel room, going up through the elevators, up the stairs and stuff, and she sees them, and she's a bit shocked, and she realizes now there's witches in the house, because how she notices that witches, you can see that they have purple eyes, or the middle of their eyes, they glow purple. That's how she was able to identify the witches are here, one as a maid. So, and she knows that they that the witches are here, and that Luke is telling all of them are here, and how they plan to get rid of them. And they have to. He wants to retrieve the formula that was used for him to be transformed into a mouse, and it's in the witch's room, down a floor down below. So he retrieves it while being chased by her black cat. But one thing another, he gets it, and he gets out of there. And now how they were planning to use it on the witches, they were discussing that. And one point where the grandmother was going to show Bruno's parents that he's a mouse, though, but they don't believe, and they freak out because they see a mouse. That's the first time. And they plan to because they're all gonna have dinner in the dining room, and they're all having this a cress soup, a white cress soup. I think it was called a cress soup. And one witch is cooking it, and Luke gets into the kitchen. He dumps the whole bottle into the soup, but he gets caught, and he gets seen. And one of the chefs takes a butcher knife and cuts a little bit of Luke's tail off. And you do see a little bit of blood, because he's in her the grandma's bag, and you see a little bit of blood. Okay. Even though from the witches, you see green gas, and you see some green blood for the when well, I'll get to that though, but it's not. You don't see graphic. You don't see like actual. You don't see rats' head or mice heads getting cut off or anything. No, you see that tends to a little blood, especially because it's a family movie, so you don't want to get too graphic. So I understand it's showing that little bit of teensy blood while the tail being cut off. But the rest of you see mostly like green blood, which I'll get to. So all the witches are eating the soup. Even like Bruno's father wants one of those crisp soups, and the grandmother stops him from eating it, and it shows that his son is really a mouse, and then it's like, oh, like the mother screams and faints, but she says, oh, and the father's like, Bruno, and Bruno's like, oh, hi, Dad, it's me. That's okay. No, I don't have to go to school. No more homework. I'll just live for the rest of my life here, So, and then you give them really good good makeup effects where you see the witches they're being turned into mice, and you one of the witches, a lot of the witches' faces when they're being transformed, you see their face being turned into mice with the big floppy ears and stuff. Good makeup, once again, good makeup effects. And which I forgot to mention the scene where Bruno when he was being turned into a mouse, you see him changing from regular normal human to a mouse head. That's also good. Like one scene cuts each, you see a different transformation from him being turned into a mouse. Good practical stuff. I thought it was also speaking with Luke's transformation when he was being turned into a mouse. You notice that the camera was panning because you see from his point of view that you see him. Imagine you see him shrinking down because he's being turned into a mouse, and you see Anjelica Huston laughing. I thought it was a good camera angle because you see him from his point of view. He's being shrunk down because he's being turned into a mouse. As the camera is panning down, you see Anjelica Huston laughing and all that else. So once again, it's a little bit of good camera angle and good makeup, great practical makeup effects. That's the biggest thing I would say in this movie is the makeup and transformations and animatronics in this movie. Jim Henson's company really outdone themselves in this one, I would say. Basically, all the witches are being starting from transforming into mice, especially with the makeup on the faces, then fully into mice. And Mai Zetterling, she delivered well. Like he's like, that's the Grand High Witch. She did that to Bruno. And as so many other children but the years before him. And then Anjelica Huston, she starts transforming into a mouse, and you see how her witch form, but more into a hideous, much more like a bulgy eye rodent with a long nose. Really, once again, I'm praising the makeup effects because it's really well done. And Rowan, Atkinson, all the chefs come out of the kitchen, and he's like, "Come on, get the mice." So everyone, and he said this, and the whole dining room is in disarray because everyone's trying to stomp and kill all the mice, which are the witches, are being turned to mice. They're stomping and throwing stuff and hitting stuff or whatever. And the Grand High Witch is now into this different type of mouse, and puts like a jug so that she doesn't escape. And the grandmother calls Mr. Stringer over here. It's like, Mr. Stringer, yes, ma'am. There's a specially infectious one right under the jug. Thank you, madam. Oh, it's a pleasure. And you see him looking from the jug, and you hear the witch going, no! And then Rowan Atkinson just goes and kills the Grand High Witch with the cleaver. You don't see exploding blood. You see like a exploding gas, a green gas, but you do see some little bit of green blood on the cleaver and a little bit of that was sprung on his face. So it's not red blood though, but a little bit of green blood, but also green gas, especially when they're transforming to mice. So, um, so Bruno gets to be with his parent, goes back with his parents, and Luke gets to go back with his grandma. Everyone's leaving the hotel as the exterminators are going in. So they go back home, and I thought it was about I will say cute because they have this they rate all these things for all these tunnels and contraptions for Luke because he's still a mouse for him to make his way around the house. I thought that was kind of a cool thing because, which I'll get into though, but it's because he's using a train or taking making these tunnels to walk around to move around the house. And then they get this trunk though which has a bunch load of cash that was from the Grand High Witch, and even contains a book of names and addresses of witches that are in America. And so they plan to go witch hunting. They plan to go to America. The uses to go to America to eliminate those witches, which I would be curious to see though. But and then when the time comes, when it's nighttime, you get basically a good witch because it's the witch who was Anjelica Huston's assistant. I guess she was fed up with. I guess she was fed up with her, so she said she quit. And she was the only one that did not eat that soup and didn't get turned to a mouse. So, and as they were leaving the hotel, you see that Luke was left a tag, and when they're leaving, that witch was at the window looking at them, holding the thing. I think that was the address, either to his place and Bruno's place. I think. I guess that's how they know where they lived. So, because in the middle of the night, that one witch comes in the night wearing all white, transforms Luke back into his human form, gives him back his glasses because they were crushed earlier, and now she goes and drives away. Guess they're going to do the same thing to Bruno now. So I guess since the film performed poorly, I guess there was no sequel. I guess. Which I would have been curious to see because they're going to go witch hunting for the ones that are in America. And also one thing I would say that I would like to have seen Luke not transform back into human form because I thought I was getting used to him being a mouse, and I would like to see how he lives the rest of his life as a mouse because he's living in this because all this stuff is laid out for him when he can get around the house. And I guess a part of me wanted to see him how he would live the rest of his life as a mouse, so not go back into his human form. But I guess he left that one little thing for that one witch to find out where he is, so she can transform him back. But that's just me though. But because but about time because the film doesn't start when he gets turned to me. This adventure goes off when he's a mouse, and he doesn't get transformed into a mouse pretty much at the halfway mark, the first half of the movie. That's one feedback that I would another thing I would say. I wish he would get transformed back a little bit before the first half is done, so we would get more of him as a mouse. Well, of course, the same thing with Bruno because he was also transformed as well. So, but yeah. Other than that, though, well, I would like to see if he would live the rest of his life as a mouse because the animatronic mouse is a well done effect, and of course both mice I would say, and I would like to see that, but sadly though, the film performed poorly, even though it got a lot of praise. So, well. But I enjoy The Witches. I thought it was a neat family film, even though it was a little bit dark for kids. So back then, though, I'm not sure if it was scary to any of the kids today, because they see all this stuff today before seeing this. I would probably think though, but but back then I would get it though. But to me, I didn't grow up with the movie, so even though I do understand it though, but I enjoyed the witches. I thought Anjelica Huston was a great high witch. I thought she did a good job. Mai Zetterling, I thought she was really good as the grandmother. Jasen Fisher as the boy Luke. I thought he was fine. I think he was not annoying, and I thought he really him voicing as the mouse as well was cute as well. Rowan Atkinson, for the much screen time that he had, I thought he was fine as well. I like Rowan Atkinson not being silly, other from his parts from Mr. Bean or his voice in Zazu in The Lion King. So, because I like Rowan Atkinson. It was nice to see him in type of being more of a serious role. But yeah, and the boy who played Bruno, I would say he was average. I'm not saying he was not horrible. So I would say he was average. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say ideas, but the biggest thing is that is the Jim Henson's practical makeup and animatronics. That's the biggest factor I would say in this movie that really made me keep on watching the film, because the whole ballroom scene where all the witches are there, Angelica's witch form, awesome makeup effects, really awesome, I would say. Even though the stuff like with the witches, they're all bald, have these little warts on their heads and stuff, and when Luke and Bruno, when they're in their mice form, good puppets and animatronics of the mice, I will still take them over CG any day, because this is stuff for that Jim Henson did. So I would still take those over CG any day. I thought the mice were cute. So, and what else is there? Trying to think of something else. Although part of me would like to see how if Luke did not come back, it transformed back into a human form. I'd like to see how he lived the rest of his life as a mice, and then for them to go to America to see if to go witch hunting. But that's just me though. But regardless, I like the movie, even though I have not read the book though. But I could see that, because it has like that certain feeling a style, a type of style that I would see 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, I would say. So it has a particular unique style to it, I would say. And I like the movie. I thought the directing was nice. The score by Stanley Myers, I thought was fine. That score that makes it like a family movie. It definitely has that fantasy feel, because it's dealing with witches and magic. So, but I like the movie. So, and Jim Henson's I give huge props to Jim Henson's makeup and animatronics and practical stuff like that. I still do. So that's the biggest thing on this, I would say, is I like the witches, and if you haven't seen the witches, I would suggest you give the witches a watch. I would recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Jim Henson for all the stuff he's done in the past. This is definitely one you should watch for the well done makeup and stuff. And yeah. Cast was fine, score was fine, makeup and stuff. It's all there. There's two nitpicks though, but that's irrelevant though. I like the witches, and I'm glad I have it. Didn't grow up with it though, but I could see why back then it would scare some kids, throw a little bit dark elements into it though. But still, probably not today though. But back then I could see why. But that's my review for The Witches. Thumbs up for. I will give it a thumbs up. But anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review, and we'll see you later.